Jalen Brunson, on the biggest night of his young NBA career, just saved the Dallas Mavericks from going down 2-0 to the Utah Jazz in the first round of the NBA playoffs. It wasn't a one-man show though, don't let the title deceive you, as both Brunson and Kleber had career nights of their own on a special Monday night that just placed the Dallas Mavericks into the driver's seat in hopes that Luka Doncic can return to the lineup soon so they can take this series against the Jazz and move on to the second round of the playoffs. This was a massive win for the Mavs as they came back from down 10 coming out of the half, as this series is now tied 1-1 as they head to Utah for games 3 and 4. There is still so much series left to play, but to be quite honest, the fact that the Mavericks were able to pull this win off with their superstar out with his calf injury might just be the thing that decides this series. As Jason Kidd stated, all things are looking in the right direction for Doncic's return, but it's still up in the air when exactly that will be. Everybody outside of the Dallas fan base had counted these guys out as long as Doncic wasn't playing, as guys like Dinwiddie and Brunson don't get nearly enough credit that they deserve, as people don't think they're good enough to be the second and third options around Doncic to seriously make some moves in the playoffs. And I'm here to tell you that that could not be farther from the truth, as I've mentioned it all season long, and it was placed on full display that the Dallas Mavericks are here to stay, and Jalen Brunson truly can be that guy that plays next to Doncic, and he proved just that last night. Also, only a small percentage of people who watch my videos are actually subscribed, so if you end up liking this video, consider subscribing. It's free and it helps me out a ton. Now, with all of the confidence in the world after just setting your new career high in a playoff game, when Doncic comes, which once again all signs are pointing that he will this series, the Dallas Mavericks are going to continue to shock the world with the team that they created. Starting with Jalen Brunson, this man just had the night of his life last night, scoring a career-high 41 points, grabbing 8 boards and 5 assists, as he shot 60% from the field and 60% from 3, and all of this was done in 42 minutes of play. Brunson did everything he possibly could to split the series heading into games 3 and 4, as he impacted every aspect of this game, even with his contribution on defense as well, picking up 2 steals on the night. He picked apart this Utah defense, making Royce O'Neal look like a fool early on in this one, crossing him up multiple times in just the first quarter alone. He went on absolute fire from 3, once again hitting an absurd 60% of his shots from downtown, and ignited the comeback that started in the second half to inevitably steal this win from the Jazz. His confidence was at an all-time high, taking control of this Dallas offense as he genuinely looked extremely calm and collected out there on the floor, not worrying about anything other than getting the best possible shot off to try and get this W, something that you typically wouldn't expect out of him, being that he's still very young and hardly has any playoff experience. It is this confidence that is seeing him emerge as Doncic's right-hand man for hopefully many years to come, being that he is just 25 years old, and let me just say, this one game might have just absolutely secured him the bag this summer, as he was already projected to get a hefty contract, but this is the cherry on top, showing that he has the potential to be a star in the NBA, as this could just be the start of the Jalen Brunson show. Everything in this guy's game has evolved even just from last season, being a guy that heavily relied upon Doncic being on the floor for him to find any success offensively, specifically in last year's playoffs, since Doncic would take so much of the defensive attention, so Brunson could come in and take advantage of the holes defenses left by trying to neutralize Luka. He now, in a series where Luka has been absent, has been able to be the best player on this team, trying to carry them, dropping 24 in game 1 and 41 last night, looking like a completely leveled up scorer that makes this Dallas team just that much better at full strength. This one performance by him is going to do more than most people seem to realize, as having another guy on this roster with the ability and even just confidence to drop 40 on your opponent can give Doncic that help he needs, and also just makes the defense need to take some of the defensive attention off of Doncic and spread it around the rest of the roster more, and more specifically on Jalen Brunson, so this could do wonders for the game of Luka as well. I know this is the very first time Jalen has scored 40 points in a game, so it's not like we should expect this out of him on any given night. However, this performance made him the 5th player to score 40 or more points in a playoff game for the Mavs, so we can't just sit here and not acknowledge just how great of a feat this is. Even on top of this, all signs are pointing in the right direction for Brunson, and who knows, maybe if we don't consistently see him score 40 a night, this could be the confidence boost he needs to allow him to be a 30-point contributor for this playoffs once Doncic returns, as he has the potential to elevate the Mavs to a level we didn't think was possible. Anyways, it wasn't just a one-man show in this one, as Maxi Kleber also had the game of his life last night, literally turning into a god from beyond the arc as he hit a game high and also career high 8 threes on the night, as he came off the bench in this one and played a massive role, shooting an also absurd 72.7% from 3. This was a huge game from Maxi, as ever since the All-Star break he had been struggling mightily from 3, only shooting 19% from his 3-point attempts, but this was a game that not only helped surge that second half comeback, but it hopefully will be the spark he needs to get out of this shooting slump. Prior to this game, the Jazz were clearly giving Kleber the space to shoot whenever he had possession of the ball, so this again is yet another thing that is great for the Mavs going forward, as they will start to give him more respect in terms of shooting threes, which will open up the floor some more for this offense, adding on to just how much this team could benefit with another 3-point sniper in the playoffs if Kleber can keep up this high level of play. All in all, these two performances were huge for this first round playoff matchup, especially considering that most people projected this team to be down 2-0 in the series without Doncic playing, so this just gives this team even more of a chance to finally break out of this streak of not making it past the first round. And obviously a healthy Luka with these pieces can potentially go beyond the second round, as you can never know what to expect in a 7-game series with that man and all of the talent that he possesses. Now, looking into the future for the Mavs in this series, things are definitely looking much brighter than most people assumed would be the outcome, and although the rest of the series will be heavily influenced by the availability of Luka, it's the Mavs defense that has truly stepped up in both games 1 and 2 that has allowed the Mavs the opportunity to even be in this series without their superstar. As most people know, the Jazz's offense was ranked first in the regular season, as they scored 117.6 points per 100 possessions, and in this series, the Mavs have done a phenomenal job guarding this 3-point dependent team by chasing them off the 3-point line, as their points per 100 possessions dropped to 114.7, which may not seem like much, but it would drop them down to 8th in the league, so it's a quite considerable amount. They have almost cut the Jazz's 3-point rate in half from a league-leading 43.3% of their shots in the regular season to only 29% through the first 2 playoff games, as Utah's rate of shots inside the paint but outside of the restricted area have increased, jumping up to 34% of Utah's total shots thus far this postseason, all the way up from 20.5% in the regular season. Dallas is simply forcing the Jazz to play a different brand of basketball than they're used to, not letting them kill them by the 3-ball. And so far, the fact that this series is tied even without them having Luka, you can sure say that this defensive game plan is doing its job. They haven't completely shut down Utah's top-ranked offense, but they've limited the amount of damage they can cause from shooting threes, which in hand has made them look mortal and have kept them in this series to the point that I think it's clear that if Doncic were playing and they were using this defensive game plan with him, this series probably would look a lot different right now. That's about the best you can expect from a shorthanded team desperate to hold the tide while Doncic recovers from his calf strain, as it's very hard to look at the future of this series and determine who's going to come out alive when everything is very uncertain in terms of Doncic's health. What I will say though is that the Mavs have done everything up until this point correctly, as they had to battle to get that win last night, so that when Doncic comes back, they don't have the odds stacked too far against them, and they wouldn't have to claw back from 2-0 or 3-0 deficits that could still be highly unlikely even with him in the lineup to win 4 straight games against the Jazz. Hopefully Doncic can come back so that they can close this series out early enough to also give him extended time in between the next series to heal, and thankfully the next game in this series is after a 2-day break, as the game will be played on Thursday, as I think most fans in the NBA are praying for Doncic to return so they can take a 2-1 series lead. That's all for today's video. Let me know down below in the comments if the Mavs have a shot at beating the Jazz, even if Doncic doesn't return to this series. As always, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you all have a great night.